It is the weekend and we are so excited. There's so much to talk about. So much is going on in the news, but we're not going to talk about news today. We're going to talk about values, traditions, culture, and families. Why? Because a strong, healthy society is built upon strong, healthy communities. Strong, healthy communities are built upon strong, healthy families. Strong, healthy families are built upon strong, healthy individuals. So it all starts with the individual and then the family, and it branches out to the community and the society. So as we ascend to a golden era where we're going to have love, beauty, joy, and abundance, it is so critical that we do our best as individuals to ascend to a certain place in life where we have high moral character, where we're loving, peaceful, kind, and forgiving and compassionate, because that's the era into which we're going. And if each of us as individuals perfect those qualities in ourselves, then we will then cultivate children and grandchildren who will do the same, and then it will grow out from there, and we will have a loving society. Now, once upon a time, it was known that society can rise no higher than the moral position of its women. Why is that? That is because the woman is the first teacher. The woman is the one who carries the seed that her husband has planted in her and cultivates that seed or that child, loves it in the womb, speaks to the child while he or she is in the womb, prophesies to the child, covers the child, sings to the child, nourishes the child through proper foods and water in the body, while it's in the body. And then when the child is brought into the world, we are the first to welcome the child into the world, look into his or her eyes and say, I am your mother. And then we put the child on our breast and we sustain the child by nourishing it with our milk that comes from the breast. So the woman is the first, most beautiful, amazing being that the child sees. Then once the child has become accustomed to being outside of the womb, we're the ones to coddle or swaddle the child, and we are the first teachers. Society have always known that. Every society across the planet has had the same value, that society can rise no higher than the moral position of the woman, because the woman passes down traditions, whether it's oral traditions, cultural traditions, values, morality, principles, legacy, and she also passes down the will or the instructions from her husband, from her elders, and from those in her religious or spiritual community. So the woman is so valuable and so amazing. She is the first one, my darlings, that the man and the woman that comes from our womb fall in love with. So while the man has a very, very important role and position, helping to put the seed into us that we nurture and to provide, protect, as well as procreate, the woman is the first teacher of the man. So we've always known that society can only rise as high as our moral position, where we stand in our values and our characteristics and how we pass that down to our children. Now, when the Obama administration came along, they changed that. And they focused more on how society treats the woman. So when the Obama administration came, and you try to look it up, this statement that I made, that society can rise no higher than the moral position of its women, that used to be something that was pervasive, that you could look up easily. Everybody knew it. Now what pops up is society. You can judge society by the way it treats its women. Let me tell you why it was important for them to change, the people in power, to change from society is judged by the moral position of its women or can rise no higher than the moral position of its women, to society is now judged by the treatment of its women. Okay, there was an agenda behind that. Yes, women need to be treated lovely. We need to be treated with care, with tenderness. We need to be treated with kindness, because we are soft, natural, beautiful beings by nature. However, this is where the agenda comes in. The agenda to tell everybody that you have to only judge the society based by the way it treats its women is because behind those words were a lot of liberties and a lot of laws and statutes that were now going to be infiltrated into the home of the women to cause the woman to be set upon a certain pedestal that, yes, we love, but it would just be a lot of freedoms with no discipline, no structure, no responsibility. So there's an agenda behind everything that these people in power do. And that's why you need both the woman and the man. The woman by nature is receptive. We receive knowledge, we receive information, we're influenced, and that's just how we're designed. On the contrary, a man is not necessarily a receiver, he's a giver. So when society is saying we got to give women a bunch of liberties, men will push back and say, yes, we do have to give women liberties, but not without structure, discipline, tradition, cultural values, and morals, because anybody who's given only liberties have the propensity or has the propensity to become wild or run amok. Now, pay attention to how society does things. They'll say you can only judge a society by how you treat its women. And yet here we are in a time when women have more liberties than we've ever had, my lifetime. We've enjoyed more freedoms than we've ever had. We can get as big as we want. We can cuss, we can drink, we can smoke, we can work. And this is exciting, right? Some women even get excited by being able to exercise their liberties to do whatever they want with their child in the womb. So these are times where the woman, even in Eastern societies and Middle Eastern societies, don't even have to cover their head with the hijab, right? And she doesn't even have to necessarily obey anymore. She can even take those out of some of her vows. And so here we are in a society where women have the most freedoms we've ever had, the most liberties we've ever had, the most anything enjoyment we've ever had in life ever. And yet, if you judge the society by the condition of the women, where are we? How are we doing? How are our children faring? Are they educated properly? Do they have discipline? Do they have structure? Do they have morals? Do they have values? Are they on drugs? Are they healthy? Or are they shooting each other in the streets? Are they loving, kind children? Are they growing up to be productive citizens or sovereigns, in society? You know, at this time in history, we have the highest rate of children on drugs due to fentanyl. We have the highest rate of murder and crimes in certain communities, especially Black communities, but not only so-called Black communities, indigenous communities, brown, melanated communities, but everywhere in societies, especially in the West. And it's interesting because once upon a time, the woman would say, and people in the West would say, I don't want anything to do with those Middle Eastern women. They don't have that. They have values, but they don't have freedom. They have to be virgins when they get married. Imagine that. Now, men know that most men can appreciate a woman that has a high moral compass or just is very good or good steward of her body. But even though the women here used to hold some of those values close to our heart. But when we look to the East, we were like, no, they don't. They have to be virgins. They have to dress modestly. They have to cover their head. Women in the Middle East, they have to be subject to their husband. They have to be submissive. Oh, we didn't like that. Women couldn't even go to work. Oh my gosh. They have too many rules. They need to be free. They need to be liberated. That's what the West would say. And that was the agenda of the people in power and political spaces, to say women need to be set free. And now we're living at a time when the same women in the West who thought those women over in the Middle East had too many rules, now women in the West are going to the Middle East and allowing the Middle Eastern men to defecate on them, urinate on them, slap them, curse them, run trains through them, bring a bunch of men to have anal sex with them, do stuff with them in their mouths for money. How depraved have we become? It's all on social media, on Instagram, and level up groups about how women should level up and raise to a certain standard so she can have a high quality or high value men. People have whole groups and programs dedicated to that. And they're teaching women that it's okay to go to the Middle East and allow Muslim men to defecate on them, urinate on them. Oh, because we've arrived. We've arrived now. We can do all that for money. But remember what I said, society can rise no higher than the moral condition or moral position of its women. The Nation of Islam brought up a beautiful article about that, and I did include that in the description section, about how we need to consider the importance of morality, values, tradition, culture, spirituality. Because once upon a time, we all knew how important that was. And even in America, our country is built upon the foundation of Christian principles. Before the Christian principles, it was based on science, more science, other science, indigenous principles, indigenous characteristics, qualities, and tradition. And it was left up to the woman to pass down those traditions to the children. You know, the woman being receptive, being the one, and you can tell we're receptive by nature. That's why our anatomy is designed as such. Our yoni, that's another word for the V word. Our yoni receives the energy and the seed from the man. And that is an indication of how we are as individuals to receive energies, to receive information, to receive love and joy and peace and nurturing and kindness. And then we take what you give to us and we make it amazing. That is the yin. But there is a law of nature that says there are two genders. It's called the 12 laws of the universe, or 12 principles of the universe, or 12 universal laws. One of them is the law of genders that said you must have the masculine and the feminine to work together synergistically in order to have an amazing, healthy being, an amazing, healthy anything. You have the seed and then you have the womb. You have the yin and you have the yang. We each have the masculine and feminine principles within us and energies within us, and they must synergize. Likewise, you have the male and the female, and they must work together to synergize so that whereas women are nurturing and kind and we're receptive, men are givers and doers, and men can discern and see what the agenda of the deep state is, and the agenda of the conqueror, and the agenda of those who have come upon your land to totally decimate it and make the women and children slaves. Men can see that because men were created for war. Men provide direction. Men provide structure. Men provide rules by which families live. And this is why the deep state has worked so hard to take the men out of the house, because without the structure and the discipline and the rules and the moral fabric in the home, the woman just receives so much information and she can be easily influenced because it's her nature to receive. So when the deep state and government propagandize certain things, when they propagandize being a whore, when they propagandize being a prostitute, when they propagandize being ran through, when they propagandize supporting agendas that are against family structures, when they propagandize traditions that are against your spiritual, cultural, and religious modalities or religious paradigms, The man can't say, no, that's too much. We're not going to listen to that. The man can't say, we're not going to do that, darling. We've already agreed upon these rules, values, and principles. But without the man in the home, the woman is receptive to those energies. We're receptive to that propaganda. We receive it, and we're sometimes easily influenced because we're emotional, we're nurturing, we're caring, we're juicy, we're sensitive, all those beautiful things by nature. So propaganda, government, laws are made. They put things in schools, the mainstream media, entertainers, music, movies, all that is targeted to the women, even sales. Women buy most things, which is why advertisement usually is directed towards the woman and the male's base nature of sex. And we have to stop demonizing men for loving sex. That's the way they operate. That men are created to procreate. That involves sex, provide, and protect. Now, if we learn how to appreciate that and respect it and love it and work with it, my darlings, you can use that to your advantage. So advertisement is targeted, yes, towards the man and his base nature, but he's not going to just throw all his money away. Most advertisement is directed towards the women and or the children, because the children will say, I want that, I want it, I want it. And a woman will go out and get it, or she will ask her husband to get it. The woman is targeted as when it comes to hair, cosmetics, clothes, things for the house, things to smell good, right? We love luxury. We love to look beautiful. We love to make our husbands and our men in our lives feel wonderful. We love to be good mothers. And the people in power know this, which is why they target us. And they push out a lot of propaganda to get us to be on their side. But a man will say that's enough, or no, there's a program behind that. Don't listen. Case in point, you have a whole lot of dating coaches out here that were pandering to women and saying, you got to accept this and not that. And if a man, doesn't make this amount of money, don't be with him. If a man doesn't do this, he's no good, right? Because they were pandering to the things that we women like to hear. And they were right on a lot of instances. But what you saw is men saying, no, that guy is simping to your female nature. He's not authentic. These men here, they're not authentic. Where is the lifestyle behind the words, the men would say? And the women, because we're emotional and we like to hear things that tinkle our ears and make us feel all goosey and juicy inside, we listen to those people, those dating coaches. And then it came out later that these same dating coaches who were telling you that you can't, no man was good enough. Basically, this man's a cheater. That man's a liar. That man doesn't make enough money. That man it doesn't dress well. That man, as if every man on the planet makes six figures, is 6 feet tall, and has 6 inches in his lingam, which is his phallus, right? They wanted you to say, if this man isn't perfect, you couldn't have it. Why? Because they were setting themselves up to receive all the sex, or the segs, as people would say. And it came out later that these same men who were promoting this had been married several times, had a history of cheating on women, left their wives, mistreated their wives. There may have been some emotional abuse when the woman came out and spoke. And so what the men kept trying to tell us is, I told you so. That's my phone. So women by nature receive. And we're easily persuaded. You don't believe me? Why are so many women getting BBLs? Because they target the woman and say, get a butt lift and a breast lift and all these things, a Brazilian butt lift, right? Somebody really wants to get in touch with me. So you see a whole lot of women doing that once you put a woman on television to say, this is appropriate for women. Then you saw women on entertainment shave their eyebrows. I don't know if you guys remember that trend. Then women started shaving their eyebrows and drawing them in. Then you saw a whole lot of women wear certain wigs, and then with the baby hairs plastered on their faces, because women are influenceable, right? We receive information, we receive knowledge, we receive a lot of things. And if it's not honed in, if there's no structure around it, we can go buck wild. So now you have a lot of women that look alike. We have the same hairdo, the same weaves, the same Brazilian butt lift. Not everybody, a lot of women are getting the same type of surgeries to lose weight. Women dress all alike. They wear the same whorish things at the beach. They all have thongs going up their butt, their behinds and their yonis. Now, they'll say certain things are inappropriate, but they can dress like that. So all I'm saying is it's natural for us to be impressionable. That's how we are. But you have to have a man in the home and in society to say, no, he has to provide structure and discipline and guidance. And this is what the powers that be know. They know men will shut things down. They know men will say, you can't dress like that. They know men will say, be modest. Men will say, that's an agenda. We can't allow our boys to be effeminized. Yes, we should love everybody. That's what you're supposed to do, being from source. First law of the universe, everything is source. We all come from one, the law of oneness. We all come from one, we all are one, and we will return to one. Everything on the planet, male, female, plant, animal, all sentient things, earth, different stars, clouds, sun, moon, we're all one. We all come from source, and we shall return to source. So, a woman by her nature will receive, and we're loving and we're nurturing. The man will say, oh, we have to put parameters around that. We can't accept everything. So what did the agenda do? They got the women on board to support these activism programs, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, etc. And it's okay to be an activist, but there was an agenda behind it that said, we don't believe in the nuclear families. We don't believe in supporting the man in the house, the man and a woman as marriage. We are against cisgender relationships, which are heterosexual relationships. It was right on their website on Black Lives Matter. But us being loving, cultivating, nurturing women, we jumped on board. Without the man in the house, we would just fall prey to whatever they want. But a man would say, no, this is an agenda to get the man out of the house. They also told us we should love everybody, no matter what their sexual preference was. And we should love everybody, no matter what their sexual preference is. But we didn't see the agenda behind it. And that's where a man will say, no, you got to be careful, because I'm not going to let my son wear a dress. I can see behind this agenda, behind the propaganda. And so now what we see, since we didn't have the men to step up, since men aren't allowed to say anything, since women are the most free we ever have been, is a society that has a breakdown in morality, where women and children are running amok because we told the man to shut up, get out of the house, be quiet, let the woman do whatever she want to do, let the child do whatever they want to do, and everybody's going to be free. You can be as big as you want to be. Who cares if you die from obesity? You think the medical systems care about us being obese? No, they make money. Oh, don't fat shame me. But the men will say, baby, don't get too big, or baby, would you like to work out? Or baby, I'm struggling here. I need you to, keep turning me on like you used to. And then the women will get offensive because the agenda is that the woman can talk, yell at a man, talk back to a man, do whatever it feels good to you. You don't have to please your husband anymore. You don't have to be pleasing to a man. But the men will tell you, if you're not pleasing to my eyes, and you know that men are visual, I am likely to go out and look at pornography. I'm likely to just lose interest in my marriage. I'm not going to be emotionally available. A woman down the street who is at the gym when I'm there working out might look more appealing to me. I'm tempted. A man will say, baby, lose weight, or let's work out together. Or sweetheart, I like for you to wear the same sexy garments that you used to wear. But the men have been told to shut up. A man would say, no, it's not good that you're keeping my son away from me. He needs me in his life. But when you only have negative energies and feminine energies coming at your sons, then that society can encourage them to become effeminate. A man will tell his daughter, baby, you can't go outside like that, because they know that a man's nature is to be turned on by a woman's shape. But society has told men to shut up. So we have to get back to some sense of morality and values, because the state of our society is not one to brag about. Again, society can only rise as high as the moral position of its women, because the women are its first teachers. So yes, the onus is upon us, but that's a beautiful thing, to be able to teach your children the morals, values, tradition, and cultures of your family, of your bloodline, of your community. That's amazing to know that you'll be able to create, cultivate, rear, loving, beautiful, peaceful children who obey you. And it's important to obey, because they must learn to first obey you at home before they get out into society, because they're going to obey an employer. They're going to obey the law enforcers. They're going to obey somebody. So it has to start with you. If we women don't go back to putting morals and values and principles into our children, we will continue to see our babies die by fentanyl and other drugs. We will continue to see children doing harmful things, deleting each other in the streets. We will continue to see children failing in schools. You know what? We have left the teaching of values to strangers in a school who don't know you, your bloodline, your culture, your tradition, or your history. And quite frankly, they don't give a care, because they have their lessons that they have to go by, which is backed by an agenda. You've left sex education up to the schools. We've left reading. We've left oral traditions, passing down family values up to schools and daycare centers where there are only strangers. And then even if you know the teachers, the teacher may be out for a while. And then you have substitute teachers. And I'm a substitute teacher. So I know what goes on in the classrooms when the original teacher isn't there. The substitute teacher oftentimes we're not given a lesson. We're just there to babysit. And for the most part, the children just do whatever they want to do. Now, I happen to go to the office and get lesson plans, or I'll bring my own, but everybody isn't designed like that. And even I could have a bad day. Why would we leave that up to the strangers at a daycare center, at a school? Why? We shouldn't. And this is why men did not desire for women to leave the house. Okay, we can get on how men need to do better. Men should have never left the home, and I agree. But right now, I'm talking about the condition of society. No matter what, society can rise no higher than the moral position of its women, because we're the first teachers of the children. And it doesn't stop as children. Children come to their parents for advice. They come to their parents to run ideas by them. And they typically like going to mom, because mom is the one who was home. Mom is the one who nursed them, breastfed them. Mom is the one that trusts them. Mom knows how to work with dad, especially wise women. So if you want to know how a society is doing, look at the moral position of the children. Of the parents, the mother. And when you look at the moral position of the society, when you look at the fabric of the society, you can judge how the women are thinking and where their morality is. Of course, the Obama administration would say society should be judged based on how they treat their women. Well, women are getting stellar treatment right now. Like I said earlier, we have the most freedoms we've ever enjoyed, ever in history. That in my lifetime, my mom's lifetime, my grandmama's lifetime, my great grandma's lifetime. Maybe thousands of years ago it was different, but in recent history, we're enjoying the most freedoms. So we're treated well. You can divorce a man and take half of his goods. You can say that a man hit you or cussed at you, even if he didn't, and have him put out his house. Oh, that's a scam. That's a hustle. I've heard about it. Miami men talk about it, and they tell you beware, because women, hello, my darling, have a hustle in Miami where they get with rich men or well-to-do men or men who even just have a home, get inside the house, then call the police and say he hit me so that they can stay in the house. Then when a man goes away and he comes back, there's nothing left in the house. That's a whole hustle. Hello, my beautiful sea star, soul star. So you can divorce a man, take half his stuff. You can say that he hit you, even if he did. If he did, he needs to go to prison, and he will be put out of house. You can do almost anything. You can have sex with as many men as you want. Nobody's going to say anything about it. You don't have to be a virgin anymore. You could delete your children if legally the federal government allowed you to do so. You could do whatever you wanted to do. As a woman, you can wear what you want. You can dress the way you want. You can't be shamed. Don't slut shame me. Don't fat shame me. You can do whatever you want. And yet look at the children and the society. So while the Obama administration said society is judged on the way that it treats its treats its women, society is judged based on the way it treats its women. I don't think that's anything to brag about. Because in the West, women are treated very, very well, and we should be treated well, but there are no parameters, no discipline, no structure, which is what men provide, which is why fathers need to be in a home, husbands need to be in a home. So thank you so much, my darling LinkedIn user. It's excellent to see you too, my dear. So when you propagandize certain things and you target the woman who by nature is nurturing and receptive, you can then cause chaos because we're emotional beings. We love, we nurture, right? This is just, we're giving, we're more receiving. We are giving, but we're receiving. And so what you have without discipline and structure and rules, and you just coddle the woman, happy wife, happy life. Nobody cares about the husband. He's the one that's going out doing all the work and putting his life on the line. It's not his fault that you decided to do the same thing as he. Nobody cares about him. When you target the woman, you can get her to buy into almost any agenda. And before we know it, it's too late. We buy into the agenda and we do certain things and we support certain things. And then after we accept it, then they come out and do things like this. Watch this. In case you didn't hear it, this is a gay pride parade, and they're saying, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. Now, they got us to buy into the, yes, treat everybody fairly, yes, treat everybody equally, yes, homosexuals should be able to marry. And I agree that people should be able to live in peace and love and joy and harmony, and they should be left alone. But what I don't agree with is you coming for my children. You're dressing nakedly in front of my children. So what they do is they target the woman, except a little bit, just a little bit. First, anytime you have a conqueror to come onto the land, they remove the husband. They mass incarceration, make it easier for them to be out of the house, give the women benefits. And it's nobody's fault. It was an agenda, right? So you remove your opponent out of the home because men are for war. They fight. They will die. They believe in bloodshed. You come from my family, I'm going to delete you. So they remove the man from the house. However, and then they tell the woman, you should receive everything, everybody. You're loving, you're nurturing, you're kind. And we jump on board, and this is what we see. So what they're saying again is we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. In other words, we're here, we're living out loud, and now that's just a group of them. Even people in the gay community, homosexual community that I know, they said this has gotten out of control. We never wanted to anybody to attack children. We mind our own business. We love whom we love, and we keep that quiet. Why are people trying to shove things down your throat? Because they're coming for your children. That was the agenda all along. All along, the agenda from the powers that be was to do harmful things to your children, sexual things to your children, molest your children, take the blood from your children. This is what I mean. When I say take the blood from your children, it started with the whole feminist movement with Margaret Sanger saying that women need to be able to delete their children because some women are raped, some women are, taken advantage of. And yes, there are certain circumstances, and it's not up to me to decide how a woman should, treat her body. Certain circumstances where certain decisions, hard decisions have to be made. But there's such a small percentage where women are impregnated by grape and they have to, take extraordinary measures. Such a small percentage. And here's the thing. Men kept saying, don't buy that agenda. No. But see, a lot of us now we're so empowered. We have so many rules. I mean, so few rules, so many freedoms. You can't tell me what to do. My body, my choice. But you didn't know that Margaret Sanger was big on genocide. You didn't even know who her bloodline was, that they were trying to get rid of most of the people on the planet, and especially melanated people on the planet, because the melanated people on the planet have carbon and melanin, which keeps everybody alive. And the men tried to tell us that. But when they remove the man, we can't hear them. Oh, I'm free. It's my body, my choice. You didn't know they were coming from your children, for your children, not only to delete your child in the womb, but you didn't know that the Roe versus Wade case was based on a lie. Roe versus Wade was a case whereby a lot of you don't even know what that case was about or what was behind it. The woman's name wasn't even Roe. She had a name. Roe is a moniker. It is a nickname. Reminds me of row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, right? Roe and Wade. Wade was allegedly the name of the prosecutor or some legal official that was involved in that case. This woman who took on the name as Roe had a name. She lied and said that she was raped by a group of Black men and therefore needed to delete her child. And this is how they promoted deleting children. Oh, what happens in the case of rape? Very small percentage. And that's up to you and your husband or your family, how you handle that. But it's so small and minuscule. And yet they made a whole case based on that. And it came out that she lied. No Black men raped her. No, she lied. Her name's not even Roe. But by nature, women are trusting. We receive information. We are nurturing, and we care about people's liberties and their freedoms and their rights. So when they said accept the homosexual agenda, we were like, of course. We have gay people in our family. Some of us may have been gay, I don't know. But I have gay people in my family. So of course I think everybody should be treated with love and kindness. But we could not see the agenda. And this is why you must have the man in the house, because he can see. He knows how a conqueror does. He knows how another man thinks. He knows that the first rule when it comes to conquering a nation is to get rid of the men. We're nurturing, we're loving, we receive. Now that takes me back to another video. So they said they're coming for your children. You didn't know that first they were going to say receive gay people, the gay ones in our families, in our communities. And no, you should not mistreat them. That's against God. That's against nature to be abusive to somebody because they do something that's different from you. We just didn't know. Now, some people did. Most of the world didn't know. First, they want to start with that. They're very sneaky. And then they were going to go towards turning off women, women now being a turnoff to men because now we're aggressive, we're masculine, we're severely obese, grossly obese, we're oppositional, we're not kind, we're not loving in the way that we treat men. And so now a man is like, if I can get an effeminate woman, or if he's been great, then his nature might change towards a man. We don't understand the war, the art of war. So they got us to buy into that agenda. Yeah, treat everybody fairly. And then it will morph into something else where now we're talking about transgenderism. We're talking about men doing things to children that are inappropriate. You know where I'm going. And they tried to make it a law. As a matter of fact, I was traveling to Louisville, Kentucky, my hometown, a couple years ago, where I had been in California to visit for a long time. And I was traveling through Louisville, and then I was going to make my way back. I was doing my rounds to my family. And I saw this great big old billboard that said, "Love has no age." It had a great big old humongous old man sitting beside a child saying, "Love has no age. Love is love." It's an agenda. They'll start out small and then they'll show you their real hand. A society can rise no higher than the moral fabric and moral position of its women. So you teach the women that you can love who you want to love, be free, have as many sex partners as you want, support every agenda, have a gay boyfriend because it's cute and he's my girlfriend, have him to call himself girl and honey, have him to teach you how to do makeup, and now he's replacing you. Now the transgender man is competing in sports. Now with women, the transgender man is saying, "I'm a woman." Now the transgender woman is saying, "You can't mistreat me." And I love my transgender brothers and sisters. No matter what color or you are, where you are in the universe, I'm just saying there was an agenda even to get you to cut off your genitalia. These people are evil. Without men standing up and providing discipline and structure and parameters, we will go amok. By nature, a lot of people don't like hearing this. Women can be chaotic because our emotions sometimes they're controlled by the moon. That's why they would say women are lunatics, because our cycles, our menstrual cycles, are controlled by the moon. Sometimes our emotions change if your hormones are in flux, or if you have men going through menopause, a certain age, if your period is on time or if it's late, that's your menstrual cycle. Just energies in the universe, the multiverse can affect us and our moods will change. So we have to have some type of structure, some type of discipline, because without parameters, we will go in chaos. And I'm going to prove it. I'm going to show you. So what they do is they get every single community to get on board with their agendas after they remove the man. Yes, that Roe lady, she lied. Now, they love to target every community, but particularly the Black community when it comes to certain things, because if you can get Black women or Aboriginal women, Indigenous women, Moorish women, however you call us, copper-colored women, Negroes, colored folk, but particularly the woman to jump on board with an agenda, baby, before you know it, they will be the face. They'll get your buy-in and then they'll take over and be the face of it. and get you to make your sons obey them, to make your daughters obey their sick, twisted agendas, right? Because the woman is the first teacher. You remove the man who provides structure and provides guidance and discipline, and then you interject your agenda and have her to teach the children. Before you know it, you're marching with Black Lives Matter, who even says they don't even like straight Black men on their website, and they don't promote the family, the nuclear family. But they pretended like they do, right? Whenever a cop shot a Black man. But where were they when our children are killing each other in the street, or some of the men are doing drugs on the street and or selling drugs and doing drugs? Where are they then? Where is all that money that was given to BLM? A lot of us didn't even know that BLM and Antifa, when you donated to them, the money went through Act Blue, which then funneled the money back to Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Act Blue actually is money that was raised for the liberal agendas and the Democratic Party. And if they're backed by Act Blue, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Until Freedom, all backed by George Soros, the billionaire, his agendas and his money to come for the communities and to cause chaos. So you tell me, how's society doing today? How's it look outside today? How's the homelessness? How are the drug numbers right now? What about the crime rate? What about the shootings in the schools? How's that looking right now? How are the women behaving right now? How are the men behaving that we raised? We always talk about a matriarchy. Well, in my community, we already have a matriarchy because 80% of the children that are born out of wedlock to a single parent. And that's a value that's either good or bad. You have to decide. So what they'll do is once they remove the man, they'll target the woman to get her to buy into these agendas, and they'll make you think everything is good. This just like Black Pride, right? Remember Black Pride? Oh yeah, Black Pride. That was such a big thing. Now, first, when I was growing up, my elders didn't even like to be called Black, especially not my aunts or my uncles, especially not my uncles, because Black was a derogatory term. It meant no law, no legal standing. It means an absence of color. It means a blank void, bleak. But when they paid James Brown to sing "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud," oh, people start buying into that. But still, Black Pride, once we bought into it, was like, okay. It was about celebrating culture. I'm proud of my hair, the coarseness. I'm proud of my features. I'm proud of the food. Yes, my family likes collard greens and black-eyed peas. Yes, my family would like fried chicken, watermelon, fruits, all fruits, not just watermelon. We took pride in that. We took pride in our high cheekbones. We took pride in being spiritual. We took pride in Christian values or Islamic values. We took pride in it. So that was what Black Pride is about. You want to know what Black Pride is about now? Now that they've gotten the man out of the house, now that they've gotten men out of the house, and they've gotten the woman to buy in on depravity in society. If I can find it, I'm going to show you what Black Pride is about. Check this out, family.
Black Pride kicks off today with dozens of events and festivals happening throughout the weekend. And it also comes as the White House is making a big effort to get more doses of the monkeypox vaccine to our state. And as Channel 2's Justin Carter reports, the health department says Georgia will receive more than 5,000 new vaccine doses.
We've actually been vaccinating people for monkeypox for the last 3 weeks.
All ahead of Atlanta Black Pride weekend. It's Melissa Scott's Super Bowl as managing partner. She says like COVID-19 in years past, it's now the monkeypox that's on a lot of minds this year.
I think the fear has died down. The issue is still there. It's still really, really relevant.
Scott says that there will be monkeypox testing and vaccine stations available at several events all weekend long, including the popular Pure Heat Festival on Sunday. 20,000 people are expected.
But we have so many stations set up over this weekend. We'll be at different venues, different nightclub venues.
It also comes as the Biden administration and the Department of Health and Human Services announced they'll disperse up to 5,500 additional vaccine doses to Georgia this weekend.
I'm the guy who kicks off your Pride weekend, right?
Lamont White says that he wants to keep it that way. He's a well-known gay dating coach and will be hosting a matchmaking event Wednesday night. He says that he does have some concerns and will be taking the necessary precautions.
Asking folks if they've been vaccinated, have they been tested, social distancing. So we have a lot of safeguards in place. I think folks need to be educated. You have to figure out what works best for you to make sure that you are safe and you feel like you're comfortable going out into different events.
So I don't know. You tell me how you feel about that. So Black Pride, that used to be about Black culture, African-American history, the Harlem Renaissance, African-American entrepreneurship, African-Americans now wearing their natural hair, African-Americans have a high moral compass, being spiritual beings, African-Americans having intact families, Black Pride being about our food, our cultural heritage, now is about homosexuality and having gay parades in the streets of Atlanta, Georgia, and other people. Okay, well, you can say that's okay, except for, when a lot of those gay pride parades are highlighted and you see them on TV or people report, they'll tell you that they're walking around with their phalluses out and their breasts exposed and being, lascivious in front of the children. But when it came to Atlanta, did you notice that they started talking about doses of the monkeypox vaccine? Doses, how many? 20,000 people would be at the gay pride parade. So while they're there, we're going to tell them they need to take the monkeypox vaccine. And we're going to create 5,500 more vaccines. And the dating coach, who happens to be gay, is going to promote that everybody takes the monkeypox vaccine because they need to be safe. Do you see how they get you to buy in an agenda, attach something that's immoral, ungodly to it, and now you've bought into a lie and made them a lot of money? If you all haven't learned anything from the global pandemic, you should have learned that you can't trust their vaccinations. You cannot trust Big Pharma. You cannot trust these people. You don't believe me? Watch Died Suddenly, a whole documentary where athletes all over America were dropping dead after they had taken the vaccine because they were forced to take it if they wanted to play and keep their money and keep their jobs. They died suddenly. How many of you have had family members that have developed blood clots, heart disease, died during the coronavirus? My husband did. I don't know if they slipped him something or not. They told me he had coronavirus with no symptoms. These people are evil. They tried to keep me out of the hospitals. I had to fight tooth and nail and say, if you don't allow me in there with my husband, I will sue the living daylights out of all of you. I went and I researched and I found their laws and I found loopholes in their laws. And I said, you're a bunch of liars. Here's a loophole that says he can have visitors. So you're going to let me, his other child's mom, and all 8 of our children, and anybody else in here who wants to see my husband in the house before he closes his eyes, or else I will sue the living daylights out of you. And you do not want to take issue with me. But did they slip him something when I wasn't there? I don't know. How many of you have seen people drop because they took vaccines? And now what they're doing is say, oh, we have a gay pride parade. We have a gay pride parade. And so we're going to tell the people who organized it to encourage the people to be safe and take the monkeypox vaccine. Right? Hey, darling, I'm working. I'll call you back. Okay. Bye-bye.
You're looking good. You're looking sweet.
Thank you, babe.
Okay, bye.
I'm on Facebook right now. You can see me if you're on Facebook. I'm on Facebook Live. Okay, bye-bye. So they were telling people to take the monkeypox vaccine, but that was their agenda all along. Get the woman to buy into Yes, we believe in supporting gay pride. Used to be and black pride. Now they done turned it around. These sick people have to be something else. But be sweet, love everybody, be kind. A man would have told you no, no, no. I see what the conqueror is doing. He's trying to get to our children, our women, because as long as he can get the woman to be soft, which is our nature, and receive everything and allow everything, now we're allowing our children to be vaccinated. If you didn't learn anything about the global pandemic, you should have learned that they interjected us with venom, snake venom, and other diseases to make us sick, to develop blood clots, to attack our liver and our organs. So I don't know how you felt, but when I saw that video, it made me sick. It actually made me cry. I know 3 people I work with that got blood clots shortly after getting the shot. It's so sad, Sister Shonda Banks. Thank you for so much for commenting. I have friends and family members, sister, who took the shot because they were told they would lose their jobs. And I kept saying, please don't do it. It's an agenda. Please don't do it. But I looked crazy. So, I mean, some people really got belligerent with me. Oh, are you going to pay me money if I lose my job? And I said, no, but you can get religious exemptions. My son owns a church. You can have him to write you a letter. And I'm going through all these things. You can even write your own religious exemption. My sister-in-law did it for her husband. She wrote a religious exemption for him. But some of us didn't even try to think outside the box. But I get it. So a lot of these people that I know personally who were forced to take it got sick anyway, developed illnesses anyway. And it just breaks my heart. So they get you to buy into something that looks harmless. And before you know, they've overtaken your whole family. The woman is the first teacher. A society can rise no higher than the moral values or moral standards of the woman. We've got to get back to morals, values, and principles. You know what they are. If you don't, ask your grandparents. Pray. Ask your ancestors. Stop being so oppositional towards marriage or families, because one thing about a man I know, he's going to provide structure and discipline. Ask your dad. Or study and read for yourself and find out some guiding principles for your life and teach them, for heaven's sake, to your children. It's all a trap, and it's sad. So we talked about Black Pride. We talked about how one of the gay pride parades, they were saying, we're coming for your children. You can be proud. You can, have your partners that you have, but why do you have to be loud about it and shove things down our throats? Now they're teaching that in schools. Now they're talking about anal, going through the back door in elementary school. Now they're talking about transgenderism in elementary and middle school. And if you as a parent don't like it, they can take your child from you. Because CPS, Child Protective Services, is not attached to the government. It's an unlawful, illegal corporate entity that has some type of, it has been filed somewhere within your state that you live in, but they're a corporation. They're not legal or lawful. So they can take your children now and lock you up if you say you don't want it. So maybe we should not leave the rearing of children to teachers and daycare workers. Excuse me. Maybe we should be rearing our children ourselves as women. We need to rethink a whole lot of things. This is a shocking video. Let me set the stage for you. There's a graduation. You all may have seen this. I don't even know how I stumbled upon this. I've friends that almost lost their baby. Oh my God. They're born premature. Yes, because of taking the shot. Oh my God. It's so sad. They're going to have a whole lot of lawsuits against big pharma, doctors, nurses, and nursing homes, all rehab centers, a whole lot of lawsuits are coming forward. And do you know that after my husband died, they said you only have 2 years to sue, but I couldn't find a lawyer to take the case. So I don't know that they gave him anything. They claim they didn't, but they did. They put him on a ventilator without my permission. How many people have they done that to? So you have to be careful. I'm not saying that all men are benevolent. I'm not saying that all women are benevolent. I'm not saying anybody's malevolent or evil, but the agenda of the people in power is evil. They target the woman to do everything. They want us to have so many freedoms that we've gone amok, and there's nobody home now to teach, instruct, and guide the children as the husband provides discipline and structure. There was a graduation that I came upon on YouTube. Many of you may have seen it because I think it actually made national news, where a woman was in a line, standing in a line, and she said that she was a brown woman, a melanated woman, a black woman, and she said that the teacher mispronounced her name, so she yanked the microphone away from the teacher, and then she started to justify why she yanked the microphone away from the teacher, because you didn't say my name right, this is my day, and I can do whatever I want. And it was so disrespectful. This is how out of control our children have become, because nobody's home to instruct the children. You want to talk about how society is doing in terms of morality and respect? Look at the children. Look at what's going on. And it all comes from the instruction or lack thereof. It's so true. So the video, you're like, okay, well, maybe, she's a little upset because the woman didn't say her name right. You're kind of on the fence because you don't know what's going on. And this whole propaganda, everything is based on racism, is so pervasive in our society that it's the first thing that a lot of people, especially melanated people or people classified as Black, jump to. Oh, you're racist. Well, when you're always promoting slavery movies and saying that everybody's racist, and then you have certain critical race theory, which probably started off as just teaching things, about what happened in the past, but now is bastardized and turned into all Caucasians are evil, and everybody had a slave, their parents were slave owners, and all so-called Black people were enslaved, and this group is evil and this group is a victim. Now people jump on the bandwagon. And this is what I mean by you cannot just keep having so many freedoms and so many things doled out to you that you don't work for, that you don't earn, because you become a victim, you become lazy, and you start to use that as an excuse. Our children living today have no reason to be this rude, mean, oppositional, and disrespectful. But because we coddled them and made excuses for their behavior, allowed them to watch television, because if you were a righteous mother if you were an available mother, you wouldn't allow your child to watch television all day long. You would monitor what they watch on television, or you would say there's no television allowed in my house. That's what I did. But my mom did the same thing, so I had that example. Influenced by television, music, radio, movies, propaganda, print propaganda, rhetoric in educational institutions, books. They have more freedoms, these children do, than they ever have. And we allowed it. And as long as there's no man around, no husband around, no father around, no elder man to provide structure and discipline, we women who are by nature emotional are easily persuaded. And you would be surprised how many women propped up this woman, said, oh yeah, she had a right to snatch the microphone from her teacher. You know what? In my day, it doesn't matter if a teacher was racist. It doesn't matter if a teacher mistreated you. It does not matter. It was not up to you as a child to discipline an adult. That's where your parents came in and they dealt with the matter. But it didn't stop there. Not only did the girl snatch the microphone, say what she had to say, and then threw it on the graduation day, but then you had a reporter to talk about oh yes, we understood why she did this, because for Black people, graduation is a big thing. And it's, we want our names to be heard. And we don't do it just for ourselves. We do it for our family. You see how this whole agenda where you can do whatever you want to do. And that's why I kept telling people, melanated people, stop being such a victim. Stop it. Stop holding on to this whole I can't mentality and I have to be catered to. Because we have a lot of freedoms just like women. And yes, history may not have always been kind to us, but there's a way to handle matters. There's a way to do things, family. So let me show you about this graduation. I'm going to put all this in the description section for you. You tell me how you feel. I didn't like it, but I come from an era where you had to respect your elders and just be a respectful human being. Those were the values that were taught. Those were the morals that were passed down from my mom and my grandma. The women are the first teachers, while the men were out working and enforcing the laws that mom and dad agreed upon, or grandpa and grandma agreed upon. Check this out. Graduating student drops the mic on one woman who ruined her moment.
A student graduating, it is her day. She's seen grabbing the microphone.
It is her day. You see how they say that?
Very little context is provided until she provides it directly. Here it is.
Okay, let's go. You didn't let me get my moment, so I want to say my name is Khadijata Diallo, and I'm graduating today. I don't like how you snatched the mic out of my head, so today is going to be all about me.
Oh, drops the mic. Congratulations!
There is a backstory, an important backstory to provide significant context to what you just saw.
First of all, she was rude, disrespectful, nasty, oppositional, mean, and aggressive. Oh, but now there's a context. We have to make it seem like it's okay. We have to placate because, Black people have had it so bad. Oh, they're not entitled. They have such a rough life. And here's the agent that had to give the backstory.
I am glad she provided the context personally. Here it is.
So, here's my story time. Basically, what happened was I was walking on and we had to announce our names and say our name before we get on the stage. So, I was saying my name and she literally, my name is long. My name, obviously, I have like 3 syllables in my name. I'm not going to say exactly.
Your name is not that long, Sugar Pie.
Exactly my name right now, but okay, just so you get a point. So I didn't even finish getting to say my name. And then the people that went before me and everything, they all got to say their name, their major, and even extras. And me and another girl noticed that she was pulling the mic down super fast for some Black people. I don't want to be that person, but that was the tea. So, I just couldn't let that happen because I just feel like I worked so hard to graduate and went through so much to graduate that I just felt like I had to reclaim my moment. I'm sorry. I'm not a problematic person. I don't want to ruin no one's day. I don't want to violate anybody, but that's what she did. She didn't even let me finish speaking. She put the mic down, cut me off, and that was the only time I was able to speak. So I just feel like that wasn't right.
Now, my parents taught me that there's a way that you handle things. Grabbing things from people, yelling, throwing a mic, that's not the way you deal with adults. Because I don't care if you're 18, 19, or 20. To an adult, you're still a child. That was out of line and out of order. And then she tried to come and justify it. If she had been my daughter, she would have gotten dealt with harshly. All privileges would have been removed. Now, that's what a father does and a mother. But children are running amok. So you wonder how society is doing today. Watch the children. Why was that permitted? Why was that justified? And then they want to bring up injustices. And he goes on to say later on, if you watch the rest of that video, you know, for Black people, graduation is such an important time, and they do it for their family members, and everybody's there, and they just want to hear their names. Placating to a child, because he's an agent. Obviously, this reporter is. This is how out of order we have become. And I'm a woman, so it's my job to speak on womanhood. That was inappropriate. I'm a woman, so I'm going to, as an elder, say this is appropriate, this is inappropriate. She was totally out of line and inappropriate. And we haven't heard the teacher's side of it, you know, so we don't really know what happened. We only know what we saw. What I saw was a rude child who didn't get enough discipline. But this is what I see out here now. I see young girls being aggressive. I remember I teach, and I'm also a substitute teacher. And I've said it many times. Certain behaviors you expect out of men, young men in school. They want to walk around. They want to shoot the breeze. They want to, play the dozens and stuff like that. So I can just easily call, either tell them chill out or, behave, or I can call security. But it's the young women. It boggles my mind. They're cussing. They're pushing each other. They're pushing the men. They're standing in front of their phones, doing TikTok, dancing and twerking. They are out of order. They're dressed with showing all their breasts in school, short shorts. Yeah, they even bought into the, long eyelashes, which is their parents, whether or not value to say whether or not that's wrong, looking like grown adults in middle school and high school with, the wigs and the baby hair plastered on their faces and all this makeup. They're the ones talking about high body counts and how many men they slept with. It's the young girls. Society can go no further than the values of its women. We need to get back to teaching our children how to behave. Thank you, Carmen Shayborn Jones. Generation X are the children of the crack era. Please tell us how to let go of the trauma that it caused you. Skip back past that time. Yes. Back to the pre-crack time, because neither of us or our children were ever given any mental help after it's so-called ended. That's a good point. We need to get counseling. We need to go back to spirituality. We need to do pour libations to the ancestors if that's your value. We need to pray. We need to meditate. We need to ask the Creator, ask Source, how do we get back to our place of spirituality? And those of us who failed need to repent. Repent just simply means that you turn away from the things that you have done that are not in line with moral values. You turn away from the negative things. So it just means to turn away. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please forgive me. I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to do better. You pray, you meditate again, and you ask the ancestors or whatever your spiritual source is, God, Allah, I don't know all of the God, Krishna, whomever, the ancestors, source. Go get pastoral counseling, spiritual counseling, read books even, and get drug addiction counseling. That's very important. Because we have turned away from being a society that had moral principles and values. And now you see our children doing all sorts of things. I'm Generation X. So I feel you. I do know what you're saying. Speaking of watching our children do things and seeing how the women are now behaving, without fathers at home or just without structure. I saw this actually first on social media. I never heard of this person called Sexy Ray. I guess it's a rapper. I want you to watch. So now, see, women will start doing this type of thing, young ladies, because they're impressionable and there's no father. Usually, sometimes or even if there is a father, sometimes you can't even tell these kids what to do because they can just say, don't slut shame me, or I'm going to call the law or CPS, or schools even say we provide a safe place at the YMCA or at our schools at certain times. So if you don't like what your parents tell you to do, if you don't want to follow their rules, you can come stay in the safe place at the shelter, at the Y, at this auditorium in the school. You can just say, I don't feel safe because my daddy told me not to twerk my booty in the air, or my mommy told me that I shouldn't wear that because it's too short. Now the children have gone amok, and it's up to us to bring back order. Check this out. I couldn't believe it when I saw it on social media. I'm to the point where I don't want any social media. I don't even want a podcast anymore. Because when you talk about truth, when you try to bring back order and justice, the people that appreciate it will tell you, thank you. This needed to be said, and you feel energized and happy that somebody's listening. And at the same time, the loudest people are the ones that say, you're trying to take us back to the Stone Ages. Women have freedom now. You're trying to put the onus on the woman. I like my freedom. It's my body, my choice. If I want to do this, that, and the third, fine. How does your child feel about it? How does your child feel about you raising him or her without dad? And I'm not even saying you have to be married or stay together is optimal, but without the collaboration and cooperation of both parents, how does the child feel about it? How does the child feel about the mother now being single, being able to sleep with whomever and having men run and women now running in and out of the doors? How does the child feel about that? How does the child feel about the dad now being outside the home, providing for somebody else's children or somebody else's home, but not being at the home because the two parents couldn't come to some type of agreement? We parents have to take accountability and do better. Check out this. This is the EBT Awards. Oh, I'm sorry, the BET Awards. Some person called Sexy Red.
Wagwan viewers and subscribers, continue watch the video. If you want to see more clip, you know the rules.
So this person named Sexy Red, I guess she's some type of rapper of some sort, very ghetto, what we would call, is in the middle. And they say that Bobby Jones, who is actually a gospel artist or a gospel host of a show, I've had family members actually pay for the Bobby Jones show. So all my family members are musicians, but they said he was just looking like, oh my God. So she's in the middle of the aisle talking about my booty hole, is round or brown. Your N-word did something to me. I can't remember. Your N-word did something to my behind hole. And then a pregnant woman comes out, and I don't know if they showed in the video because I was actually reading this video. I was reading something else. And a pregnant woman comes out. She bends over, and this girl starts twerking on the pregnant woman in the middle of the aisle. Loud, singing all loud, hey, dressed, in questionable ways, looking unpresentable with no class. This is where we have come to. And the reason why they're able to do that is because society now has made it safe for them to act this way. Because we bought into the agenda that women can dress the way they want to, they can act the way they want to, they can be fast, they can be loud, they can be wild, they can talk about things that used to be only talked about within a sacred space of the marital bed. And who talks about somebody's anus? How depraved have we become? Where is her mother? Where is her father? Why is this acceptable? So I wanted to show you that because this is circulating all over social media. People are talking about it. They seem to think it's funny. So a lot of people don't like it, but we're all talking about it. And you know what? Some of your children, I want to show you this other video. Some of your children are susceptible to that. And what's interesting is that I've had men to say, oh, you think that's bad? I actually know women who behave that way. Just go to a club. And this is where we older women have to do better. We're telling our children, oh, have fun. Our little girls, have fun. Nobody can tell you what to wear. Nobody can tell you what to do with your body. Your 20s and early 30s, they're for fun years. Well, fun, first of all, needs to be qualified. What is fun exactly? And then you have to train your children how to have wholesome fun, not how to be loose. So this is what I mean by we need values. This is how our women are. These type of women in this culture right now, raising children, what can they teach them when their role models is this girl? And somebody said they don't even know if it's a girl. I don't know. This person. So we've got to get back to morals, principles, and values, because I'm going to keep saying it. A society can rise no higher than its women, because women are the first teachers. Now, speaking of holes and anuses, I'm sorry, I don't like talking about stuff like this, but let me show you. See this video right here? It says Sukihana gets her groceries eaten by fans on stage. You know what groceries are? Yeah, that hole, that anus she was singing about proudly. Somebody actually bends down and eats her groceries. And that goes back to the song. Remember that song? There's an Asian girl singing it with another man. I can't think of it, but she says, there's a part on it where she said, you got to eat groceries. Dun, 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 dun. If somebody knows the song, tell me. Don't let your N-word get close to me. Something he got to eat groceries. All that music is a program. It gets into your brain, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, and it inspires you or encourages you or propels you, whatever, to act on what you allow in your body. You got to watch what you see, what you hear, what you take into your senses, because it becomes a part of you. Watch this. And I'm sorry if this is something you guys don't want to see. You won't see the whole thing. You'll just get the gist of what they're doing. I apologize. You might want to turn away. Somebody's actually eating somebody's groceries. Remember, she talked about the booty hole, right? Your N-word eats me out. They actually did it. Now, one of my friends said, this is the same concert. And people were sending me videos like, this is where our women have stooped to. The first teachers of society. This is what we've reduced ourselves to. It doesn't matter to me if it's the government's fault, the so-called supremacy, the man, the woman, whoever fault it is, we all need to take accountability and get our houses in order. Watch this. What's sad about that is that your anus is for defecating, not to be eaten. And if you do that in your house, that's your business. But you're on stage in public in front of people, and people actually have their cell phones out taking pictures and screaming and shouting and clapping. And this is acceptable. This is how low we stooped as a society. And that when I saw that video, shout out to my friend T who sent it to me, I literally shed tears. And I said, no wonder I can't tell these young women to be modest, to be chaste, to stay virgins as long as you can, because your virginity is very, very valuable. It's your body. It's you. Keep yourself. Don't let a lot of energies inside you until you're ready for marriage, until you're ready, or till you reach a level of maturity and adulthood. It's hard to tell women that when this is the standard. being at concerts, letting people eat each other out, when the standard is snatching microphones from grown people and then justifying it because, oh, she didn't let me say my name. And then you have people in positions who condone that type of behavior. When that's the standard, it's hard for us elders out here. But we got to do our jobs. A lot of people don't like when I say this. We need each other. Men need women for procreation and to make your home beautiful and to cook for you and sustain you and to make you feel good and massage you and massage your ego. When I was growing up, we knew that men had egos, and it was our great pleasure to massage it, because as long as we can massage your ego, baby, you're going to do whatever mama wants. A wise woman knows her husband, and she knows how to get the things that she needs done. That doesn't make you docile. That doesn't make you a doormat. It makes you smart and have what we used to call feminine wiles. Men need us, because while we're taking care of the home and raising the children and cooking the food and telling them how wonderful they are, how we appreciate them, how we love that they fight for us, that they're willing to die for us, how they smell good, they look good. Oh my God, when you do that for your husband, your man, it gives him the strength to go out there and fight and to work harder. Men are inspired by a woman's femininity. They're inspired by women, period. That's why men have women in the workplace. And see, the elders tried to caution us and say, y'all don't want to fight for equality, because now that you have women in the workplace, you're about to replace yourselves. Men are going to be hunters. They're going to do certain things. They're inspired by women, and it becomes more challenging. A lot of them know not to do things with women in the office, and they shouldn't. It becomes more challenging when all the women are in the workplace, and it becomes challenging for the woman to stay faithful. Some of these women, I've seen the statistics of cheating. It's almost the same for women that it is for men, but you're all working together and nobody's home with the children. So as long as that's the standard, you're going to have chaos. Society's going to be chaotic. So you have the man providing, protecting, and procreating, but you also need the woman to be home to rear the children so we can have good, productive, sovereign beings in society. That's the greatest job ever, to create, nurture, and cultivate human beings that are going to be smart, loving, kind, generous beings and humanitarians. Otherwise, society will raise your children, and that's what you get. Finally, look at this video. Men don't act like they need elder women, though. Really? Gosh, I don't know. Tell me more about that. Because I know men typically appreciate, the men that I know, they appreciate the elder women, Sister Carmen, because they know that we're instructing our children. It's not up for us to instruct the men. So the only appreciation a man needs to give to an elder woman is respect. That's it. I see my elders. I want to respect her. If she needs anything, then I'll be there for her. But they don't have to praise us. They don't have to. What do they have to do for the elder women, my darling? I don't know. Maybe there's something you just help me, teach me. The men that I know appreciate the elder women instructing the younger women. That's our role. And so I know men that call me. In fact, I have an interview scheduled for Monday where I'm going on a podcast where a man called me because he respects me as an elder to come on his podcast to talk about these things. I have a brother that I talked to yesterday. We're going to do a podcast together. I have brothers that call me all day long. The man you heard on the phone, he is in love with me. There's men all around that are in love with me because I'm an elder who's trying to bring back order and instructing the younger people. So I don't think they need to you necessarily have sexual relations with the elder woman or even try to court her for marriage, because typically elder women are married or have been married. And if you're like me and you're a lioness and you've already been married and you've already had certain things and he left you things, you don't necessarily need men to try to court you. So I'm hoping and praying that whatever men are not respecting elder women will get back on their job, because I am so sorry to hear that. She said, that's all I want is respect. Absolutely. And I pray that you get that respect, because I've only seen from you, I don't know you personally, is a respectful person. So I don't know, sister, how we can get men to respect elder women. You have 4 daughters, and your ex-husband adores you. Yeah, because when they see women who do our jobs to nurture, love, and instruct our children at the same time, being loving, kind, feminine. What I mean by feminine is just nurturing people who understand our strengths, and we understand or understand their strengths, and we collaborate and cooperate with them. We generally get that respect. So thank you so much, family members, for chiming in. I appreciate this so much. And I'll get to your more comments in a minute. This is the last video. This video is from Ghana. His name is also Don. Oh, I'll get back to the comments. Hold on. So this video is from Ghana, and we're going to wrap up the information that I'm providing, and then we're going to take some questions and comments. In Ghana, there is there are a couple of slave castles that are on the coast. The slave castles is where the history goes, the oral tradition is that slaves were taken from these ports and transported to different parts of the world. These slave castles are places where people go and they visit. You had political leaders from all over the world go, especially people from the African diaspora, whether it is African Americans, indigenous, Aboriginal people, people from the Caribbean, from America, North America, South America, Central America, Canada, even different parts of Africa will go to visit these slave castles just to have some solemnity. You know, they're very solemn, to educate themselves on what has historically happened to some people, and maybe it was their ancestors or maybe not. Sometimes they just want to experience what was that like. It's my understanding is that it's cold there. They still have some of the same shackles, some of the tools and the things that they whipped slaves with. And so when people go to the slave castles, you hear a lot of mourning. There's a lot of sadness. People do some reflecting. They pour libations to the ancestors. They say prayers. They make new goals and visions for their lives, for their family members. And I'm tearing up because I've been in Ghana. I've lived in Ghana. I love the country. They have relationships with a lot of African Americans and people from the African diaspora, and they will work with you if you want to, get into certain businesses there. I've been to many places in Ghana. I refuse to go to the slave castles because when people come back from there, they're crying, they're sad. Just the thought that anybody, whether you're Caucasian, African American, Central American, Australian, because the Slavics, the first slaves were actually, they say, our Caucasian brothers and sisters. That's where the word slave came from, the Slavics. So anybody enslaved, anybody that was treated as chattel, anybody that was abused, and to still have the remembrance, the memory there, we know where the castles are there. And I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know, but they say the stories are true. So people go there. Even Obama was there. I believe Kamala Harris was there. Her father's Jamaican. They said they had slaves in Jamaica too. So people go there and they're so somber, right? And they have moments of clarity. And again, they do participate in rituals to the ancestors. Oh, not this group of young women. And why is it the women? I'm telling you, women can't have unlimited freedom. We have to have, everybody needs structure and discipline. But women who receive and who are nurturing and receptive and loving and kind, all that blah, 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 have to have structure and discipline and rules and parameters. These women went to the slave castles and they behaved so unseemly that a man from Ghana had to post this and ask us, is this how Black Americans behave? Because I've seen Black Americans come to the castle and they were somber. Oh, but not these women. I don't know if you all have seen this, but check this out. Shocking African American women twerking in the historical Cape Coast Castle in Ghana.
Hello. There is a video circulating on social media, and it is actually attracting a lot of different reactions from different people. And myself, I don't even know what to even say, because honestly, I'm confused. So I decided to bring this video to you for you to say whatever you think about this particular video. It's crazy, but let me give you a gist. It's about the Cape Coast Castle, the Cape Coast Dungeon in Ghana, in Cape Coast. There is this four African American women that came down from the US, and they are in Ghana currently, I think, and they decided to go to the Cape Coast Dungeon to see the place and also be taken through what actually happened. And I think when they finished everything, like taking them through all this, like whatever that happened back then, they decided to look for a place in the same Cape Coast Castle, not even outside, and started twerking for the ancestors. And that's actually what they were saying, twerking for the ancestors. Twerking for the ancestors. And I'm like, people go to this place, Barack Obama.
One of the most striking things that I heard was that right above the dungeons in which male captives were kept was a church. And that reminds us that sometimes we can tolerate and stand by great evil, even as we think that we're doing good.
Steve Harvey. A lot of African American celebrities have actually passed through this place, and their reaction is very, very different. So I just don't understand how come these people didn't have that kind of feeling, but decided to actually twerk for the ancestors, or in the Cape Coast Castle or the dungeon. Let's take a look.
So these young ladies are twerking for the ancestors, putting their rear ends in the air, shaking it and twerking it for the ancestors. This is how sexualized this generation has become. This is how rude, disrespectful, and egregious this society has become, because we've told our young women, you can dress however you want, you can do whatever you want, you can twerk if you want, you can behave, you travel all over the world by yourself if you want, you can sleep with as many men as you want, you can do whatever, you can even delete your child, you can do whatever you want. And this is what we have created. Young ladies, I don't even know if some of them are older, on a slave castle, a place where people pour libations to the ancestors, say, I'm sorry you went through this. You sacrificed so much. I promise to live a better life. I promise to make you happy. I promise to do right by you. Now we have people twerking for the ancestors. And you know what's upsetting to me is some people think that's cool. They think it's cute. They think it's right. They think you should just let people be free and run roughshod and do whatever they desire. That is horrible. Society can go no higher than the moral principles and values of its women. If we had women twerking at a slave castle where ancestors and anybody's ancestors have died, been beaten, enslaved, and you're putting your bottom in the air because all you listen to is songs about your booty hole and sleeping and screwing. If this is what our young ladies who we used to teach to be chaste, wholesome, at home, responsible, learning to be a wife, learning to take care of children, learning to cook, clean, sew, and do jobs that will support society, like sell groceries or something, and support our husbands' ventures and support their ventures and their vision together. We used to teach women to do that, but this is what we produce: people shaking up their behinds at a site where ancestors have died, people shaking their behinds, twerking at a BET award, talking about their rectum hole, women bowing down to eat somebody's groceries, their anus at concerts, women exposing their breasts, walking around naked and half naked at gay pride parades. We have come a long, long way from morality. There used to be a commercial that was saying, we've come a long way, baby. I think it was a Virginia Slims commercial in the 70s where the woman is smoking a cigarette, because there used to be a time women didn't smoke. We didn't smoke. What did you smoking for? What were you drinking for? What were you cussing for? What do you know why you smoke, drink, and cuss now? Because you wanted to be equal to a man. Men used to do those things because they worked so hard. They were stressed out. They worked 2, 3, 4 jobs back in the day, but now we want to be equal. We want to work just like a man. So now you're stressed out and you're tired and you're smoking and drinking just like a man, and we're cursing just like a man, and we're behaving just like a man. But men also died earlier from smoking and drinking, but now we're doing the same thing as the men because we want to be equal. You're not equal. There's a man and he has a role, and there's a woman and she has a role. We're both amazing. We both have our own duties, responsibilities, and we have our own characteristics and qualities that need to be joined together to work together synergistically. Otherwise, we're going to have hoes and thoughts shaking their booty, talking about I'm twerking for the ancestors, and we're going to have hoes and thoughts at concerts eating out somebody's behind from which you're supposed to defecate. So, sorry to go off on a rant, but if we desire to get back to some sense of righteousness, we women have to do our job as teachers. And husbands, we need you. But I know it's hard for men because I can't tell you how many women I've heard say, I don't need a man. I'm a boss bee. I'm a boss chick. If he don't make 6 figures, I don't want him. If he don't have 6 figures, 6 inches, and he's not 6 feet tall, forget him. I can't tell you how many women. You can't tell me what to do. I don't have to be a virgin. I don't have to be chaste. I don't have to close my legs. I can do whatever I want. I can travel as much as I want. It's about me. I want to be fun. I want to have fun. I want to be in a club. Well, when you're drinking and you're at the club, you're opening up yourself to spirits. That's why they told you not to drink. That's why they call it spirits. You're opening up yourself to spirits, and then you find yourself intoxicated and engaging in activities that you didn't go out to do. And some of you will end up with a child. Now you're faced with a dilemma. Do I keep it? Do I not? Then after you have 1, it's easier to have 2. Then you have 3. And then you want to shame a man for saying, no, I can't marry you. You've had too many energies inside your body. You drink, you smoke, and I don't want that. Oh, you got a problem with single mothers? No, I don't want to raise another man's child because now I have to deal with his father and her father and her father. And I got to deal with all the things you went through emotionally, from all the trauma you've experienced from various relationships and all those energies that you've received into your yoni space. So how can we get back to a semblance of righteousness? We need to repent, which means to return from those ways. We need yoni steams. Oh, they're amazing. Oh my God. They cleanse you out. It's herbs you put, they cleanse you out. You got to look it up. A lot of the energies and just disease and yeast and all that stuff is purified from your body. But a lot of us have to do it because of all the energies you allowed. And you got yoni steams and yoni eggs and douches and all that. Some to be healthy, but some because we've done things we should not have done. Get some physical healing. Get those energies out of your body, and then get some spiritual healing and some counseling. It's interesting, whenever I talk to a woman, somebody wants to bring up men this, men that. What about the men? How come the men don't? What? I'm a woman. How about we stick to what we can do, and after we get it together, maybe we can offer suggestions to the men, or we just leave it to the men to do. But we're raising men. We're rearing the men that are shooting people in the streets. We are. But we keep saying we don't need a man until we get a certain age, we might be 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Then where's all the good men? Will you let them pass you by when you're working on all your college degrees, all your marriages, all your relationships, or when you're just having fun? And it's your life, it's your thing. You can do what you want to do, but there are consequences to these decisions. So a lot of those men that were coming up got married early, or they reached their prime, and at 45, 50, they rather have an agreeable, cooperative woman who was a good steward of her body, a good steward of her energy, and doesn't have a lot of liabilities that he's now responsible for. It only makes sense. We need to have a come to Jesus moment. And what I mean by that is we need to turn away from where we've allowed society to go, because our children need us. Our young ladies need us. They're doing things that never, ever was heard of, ever. And that's because the elder women, not the men, trained the daughters. My grandmother trained me to cook, to clean, trained me to be a virgin. My mom trained me to be a virgin and said, you got to get married soon as you feel like you're about to start having needs. And they trained us for marriage. They groomed us for the young men in our community, our small community. They trained the men, and the women trained the women. We already knew we were going to pick from each other, whether in the church or whether in your neighborhood. And in Africa, different tribes, they train each other for each other. We have no sense of tradition anymore. They trained us how to cook, clean, sew, raise children. We read books. We learned. We watched Grandma garden. We actually helped her wash the vegetables. We helped scale the fish. We helped clean the meat. We went to the meat market with her. We had our own garden. We went to other gardens and farms. We washed the dishes. We learned to do these things, not to be a slave, but because that's just what women were taught to do. It doesn't matter if you decide that you want to be equal to a man and work like him and go 50-50, or if you decide to be a domesticated woman. They made domestication seem like slavery. Ask your children what they would prefer. If they prefer mom to be home, interview some children of the moms that were home and moms that were away. Moms that stayed with their child's father or the husbands, or even if they ended up in divorce, worked together agreeably, and moms who didn't. And you tell me what the consensus is. Thank you so much for allowing me, to speak to you today, to share my thoughts and opinions. I appreciate you for being here. You don't have to do that in the middle of the day, but we do have some comments. Lots of testimony of nurses that say their patients would get better and then would be eating, laughing, and the next day they're gone. Wow. These are patients from the people that actually took those injections and vaccinations. They're getting sick all over and over again. Right now is a comment. Somebody else said, Drea says, I trust nobody. I watched my son regress right before my eyes. He never got another shot. None of my kids, especially the HPV vaccine. Yeah, because they would tell us even before the pandemic, get your HPV, get your vaccinations. And if you're a good mom, you'll make sure that happens. But they were tricking us. And now they're talking about how vaccinations have led to autism and some other things that have caused delays, developmental delays in our children. Somebody said, I'm so sorry. Thank you. I have a friend who lost her 19-year-old son. They put him on a ventilator. He died 2 days afterwards. Yes, because you've got all this oxygen and God knows what else flooding their lungs. I don't even know how that's legal. He was an athletic, healthy kid who played sports all his life. And they told his mom they should have got the shot. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Critical race theory was hijacked by an agenda. Thank you, It's God. I didn't know that, but I was speaking against it until my big brother, Alvin, shout out to my brother Alvin and his lovely wife. He told me, said, it didn't used to be taught that way, but it was hijacked. So I'm glad I know that now. Drea says they don't talk about the fact that the Black population basically started their own businesses, absolutely, and created their own communities during those times back in the day. Yes, my grandfather actually owned a sausage business, and they owned this. He and my grandmother owned a storefront, so they sold food. We still had the freezers and the butcher section. We had all that when I was growing up, even though the store wasn't functioning, still a part of our house. And we actually played in the store. So we got to see the freezer and the cash register and all those things. And we would play on those things. It was so fun. And Granny grew the plants there. So you're right. We had businesses. So people keep talking about slavery. Right after slavery, we were doing better then than we are now. We believed in the concept of marriage, the institution of marriage. We believed in staying together. We believed in rearing the children together. And we had our own businesses. But when they had integration, now you have people saying, oh, we need to start applying for their jobs. And that's why I don't understand why we have this conversation about affirmative action. Now, we need affirmative action. We need people to treat us fairly. Why? When you can create your own. Why are we still begging people for anything? Create your own businesses. We're smart. We're highly educated. Women, Black women, African American, indigenous women are the most educated here in America, are the most educated women on the planet. Okay, we have education. So after slavery, we had many, many businesses, and we had homes that were intact. We had marriages intact. We didn't have this high percentage, 80% of children being born outside of wedlock. Now, I know it's not a taboo now to do, and everybody's free to do what they want. And I'm not here to make anybody feel any certain way. I'm just telling you how things used to be and how it is now. You want to be cautious and think about the decisions that you're making before you make them. You have to have a vision and a goal in mind for yourself, your children, your posterity, your future generations. Write it out and live it. That's how I started out with my life. I never wanted my children to be called a bastard. When I was growing up and you were born outside the confines of marriage, you were considered a bastard. I didn't think that was a bad thing. I didn't think it was anything I should cry about and, oh my God, I can't believe I'm a bastard. No. I said, wow, that's what they call me, illegitimate. Because I wasn't born within the confines of marriage, and that's the institution of marriage is very important in the society in which I live. I was a child. I'm not going to do that to my children. I'm going to get married. And I got married at 18. I'm not telling everybody to do that, but I looked ahead. I didn't look ahead all the time like I should have, but for the most part, I looked ahead. I knew I wanted certain credentials. I wanted a certain marriage. I wanted to have certain experiences. I looked ahead. I wrote it down and I started. I did it, but I couldn't do it without a vision. Without a vision, scripture says, people perish. Without a vision, people perish. You have to have a vision for your life, for your family, your children, your future generations. What's your 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 25-year plan, 50-year plan, 100-year plan, 1,000-year plan? Plan for millennials. That's how certain bloodlines are doing what we're talking about. We're going to kick it on the weekend, and it's okay for my daughter to go show her behind and shake it at a concert. We got to get back to righteousness. I watched a video of another student that said that didn't happen. Oh, wow. Share more. They want the whole country to be like California. May God bless you. You raise your children the way I raised mine. Have a beautiful day. And we'll end with that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Greetings back to you, Sister Adrana. She's saying, teach, teach, teach. What you're speaking on truly needs to be told and expounded upon. Peace to you, Sister Adrana. I'm so pleased that you're here. I'm honored that anybody that has taken out time of their day to join us, that's here. Thank you so much. I love you. My desire is that we get ourselves back in order, get our homes in order. And for the most part, when it comes to the children, it starts with mom. So we're going to bring on men to come and talk about masculinity and why it's important to be masculine, what it means to be a provider and a protector. And then some of us will create programs to help our men and women to do what we need to do to produce healthy families. Remember, we desire to have a healthy society, but a healthy society is built upon healthy communities. Healthy communities are built upon healthy families. Healthy families are built upon a healthy individual. It starts with you and me. So let's get the help and healing that we need and the coaching that we need. Let's read some books, pour some libations, talk to the ancestors, to the creator, get our houses in order and turn back around from the debauchery, because it's not too late. We got time. Let's get ourselves together and be made whole. That's what perfection means. So when the scripture says, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect, when you eisegete and exegete the scripture, it means be ye therefore whole and complete, even as your Father in heaven is complete. I love you. My name is Dr. Kia Pruitt. I trust I've said something to raise your vibrations and to inspire you to create the most amazing, magnificent life that you desire and deserve. Happy Friday. Namaste.